Many people call Arizona the Copper State or the Grand Canyon State, but after this video, you'll definitely be calling it the Haunted State. From their many ghost towns to their bloodstained hotels, Arizona has a much darker side to it than many of you guys think. I'm your host Andrew, and today we're going to talk about your top 10 scary Arizona urban legends. At number 10 spot, we have Slaughterhouse Canyon. This story shares similar characteristics as the story of La Llorona, so basically all sorts of messed up. In the late 1800s, a family lived inside of a small wooden shack in the middle of Slaughterhouse Canyon. The husband was a hardworking man and wanted nothing more but to provide and care for his own family. And around this time, gold rushes were a big thing, so it wasn't uncommon to have men leave the family for weeks on end. So one day the husband decided to go out on one of these gold rushes, but weeks turned into months and the husband never ended up returning. This caused the family to starve and suffer, but this had the most effect on the wife, who became extremely delusional from hunger and grief. This delusion caused her to grab an axe and proceeded to murder all of her children. She then carried their bodies to the nearby river, where she screamed for days supposedly, until she passed away from starvation. And according to local residents, the wails and sobs of a heartbroken and psychotic mother can still be heard within the canyon at night. Number 9, the Muggin Monster. This beast is also known as Arizona's Bigfoot, and as you can see from the photos, you can see why. This monster is said to live on the Muggin Rim, which is a steep cliff that runs 200 miles from eastern Arizona all the way to New Mexico. The monster is also spotted within the Ponderosa pine forest as well. Those who have spotted it have said it stood 7 feet tall, covered in hair, and walked upright like a bipedal. The same people who saw it also noted how territorial and violent they can be. But really, why would anyone want to mess with these guys? It's said that if you smell rotting flesh nearby, then the Muggin Monster is really close. So when that happens, be sure to dip straight out of the area. Number 8, Skinwalkers. If you know a thing or two about mythical creatures, then you must know about Skinwalkers. Well, yeah. Arizona is their home, unfortunately. Arizona is deeply rooted in the Navajo culture, so this is a beast that originates from that. A skinwalker is a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or even disguise himself as another animal. For some infight, the Navajo believed in powers and that it could be used for either good or evil. Medicine men use the powers for good in order to heal and apply aid, but the alternative route is to use the powers for bad. Only when a person commits the evilest of deeds will they be given supernatural powers, turning them into a skinwalker. They can transform into anything they want as well, including any animal or human. And the worst part is that if you stare into the eyes of a skinwalker, they can absorb themselves within your own body. So yeah, let that one sink in with you. Number 7, Two Guns. Along Interstate 40, stuck between Flagstaff and Winslow, is the Arizona ghost town of Two Guns. Not much remains of this once thriving town after fire in 1971 nearly burnt it to a crisp. However, this wasn't the only time the town faced bad luck and tragedy. In 1878, the story goes that a group of Apaches raided a Navajo camp and took off toward Canyon Diablo. The Navajo gave chase and found their enemies hidden in a small cave in a shallow part of the canyon. They ended up burning 42 of them. Ever since this massacre, the town has been said to be cursed. Further confirming this, in the 1920s, this town started to become alive again with new buildings, including a trading post, restaurant, gas station, and even a post office. This development didn't stop there. Eventually, a new zoo was going to be created, except the builders decided to excavate the local cave where the massacre occurred. They ended up pulling out a lot of human bones and skulls and used them for decorations. Yeah, I know. At our number 6 spot, we have the Lost Dutchman's gold mine. East of Phoenix, Arizona, a local legend arose, inspiring many men to find riches they could only imagine. The Lost Dutchman's gold mine is possibly the most famous lost mine in all the world, and people have been trying to find its whereabouts since 1892. The story goes that in the late 1800s, a German immigrant named Jacob Waltz found a gold mine that made him wealthy overnight. But as many of us would probably do, he kept it a secret from everyone. Fast forward, and on his deathbed, he would give a handful of people the directions to find this cave. However, these directions did nothing because it's still lost today. Each year, a little under 10,000 people attempt to find this lost mine, and unfortunately, this expedition has cost many of them their lives. Many of them are found headless, shot by a firearm, or go completely missing from the grid. So if you ever want to become very rich really quick, why not give it a shot and find this lost mine? In the hump of our list, we have the Wraith. Many of you have seen this image somewhere on the internet, but the people of Arizona have seen this creature in person. These monsters are said to reside in the Grand Canyon caverns near Peach Springs, Arizona. They are described to be 9 feet tall, slender beings that only appear at night and having a thirst for human flesh. And it's pretty easy for them to devour us because it's said that their claws are the size of our fingers alone. You will know one is nearby just by the sound they make. It resembles a high screech, and at close ranges, it could even make a person deaf. These creatures have been spotted all the way back since 1800s, and ever since, they have made their mark on Arizona's history. Number 4, Arizona State Prison Complex. Since 1910, death sentences have been carried out in the Florence prison. According to the Arizona Department of Corrections website, about 100 inmates have been executed by hanging, lethal injection, or gas chambering on the grounds of the state's first secret prison in Florence in the past 100 years. And let me tell you, from all those deaths, a lot of ghosts are bound to come. And it shouldn't come as a surprise that there have been quite a few supernatural tales told over the years, coming from both prisoners and guards. Both have reported seeing several instances of, quote, mist that look in the human form, or having their ears assaulted with, quote, screams and other strange sounds. Much of this paranormal activity occurs in the building that houses the prison's death chamber, which would make a lot of sense to say that these are the ghosts of former inmates. Number 3, Oliver House. This building is considered to be the most haunted hotel in all of Arizona, so I guess I'll be booking my next visit right now. I'm just joking. So the reason why many claim this is the most haunted hotel in the state is the fact that 26 lives were lost in this building since it first opened in the early 1900s. So yeah, this house has a bloody history. During the gold rush, the house served as a hotel for miners, and one story involves a miner by the name of Nathaniel Anderson who stayed in room 13 at the Oliver House. He would be caught going out with the wife of someone he owes money to, and days after, he would be found dead with 2 gunshot wounds. Guests of room 13 now claim to see his ghost near the stairs before it completely enters the room. One DJ even booked the room after a $100 bet, and the moment he stepped in, he said he saw Anderson's body standing in the middle of the room. Number 2, Jerome Grand Hotel. This hotel first started as a hospital, and as we know, hospitals are haunted. Just kidding. But hospitals are inevitably going to have a lot of lives lost within, and as they say, more deaths, more ghosts. You get the point. After the building turned into a hotel, many residents claimed supernatural activity within the halls, in their rooms, and basically everywhere in the hotel. And many placed blame on the former patients who passed away in the former hotel. Apart from the haunting, the place is also a beacon of bad luck. A man named Cloud Harvey lost his life after being crushed by a self-service elevator, and another 5 people took their own lives inside of this hotel. All the way at a number 1 spot, we have Territorial Prison. Yuma's Territorial Prison is known for being a gloomy and unwelcoming place for visitors, and is situated as far west as you can go before approaching California. Over 3,000 prisoners were kept in this prison throughout its 33-year operational period. Inmates who committed murder, theft, and even worse were jailed in here. The walls of this jail were so high that the inmates were unable to see the outside, and the worst among them was placed in the dark cell. The convicts were banished into the darkness, left to their own devices to cast any curses or evil thoughts they dared. With its rich history and tragic figures, it is now a fascinating museum to visit with your family. Well, these are the top 10 scary Arizona urban legends. What do you guys think about this list? What state should we do next? Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe to this page. I'm your host Andrew, and I hope you guys have a scary day.